Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming A. Michael Baldwin. You all know him as Mike in the Phantasm movies. I'm having him on the show today to talk about that, talk about working with Don Coscarelli on his first movie, Kenny and Company, and talk about his interest in music and their upcoming reunions at Days of the Dead in Louisville, Kentucky, and Son of Monsterpalooza. And I can't wait. It is going to be frigging awesome and stuff. I got to interview Reggie Bannister and his wife Gigi last November, and now I get to interview Mike himself, A. Michael Baldwin, and I can't wait. I am just so lucky with the people I get on this podcast. It's just insane, the people that I get, and I'm just so grateful. You know, I don't know if anybody out there is listening, but I'm very grateful for it, nevertheless. So, here is my interview with A. Michael Baldwin. Hey, Michael, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Such an honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. So, going back in time, your father, Gerard Baldwin, was an animator, so you grew up around the business. What age did you get into acting?
Well, I'll tell you, that would have been probably, it's hard to call it acting if you're only 7 years old, but, that's when I started working.
Wow. At the age of 7.
I think so. I think that's fair to say, yeah. Like a professional gig where you get paid.
Yeah. So you were doing school plays and community theater and all that?
I did all of that, yeah, in L.A., yeah. Lots of it.
I was also reading that you were into music at an early age, that you can play many instruments.
I think that rumor is probably a little bit exaggerated. I don't think many is probably true. I also don't think that, the define played, I can play a saxophone for about 3 minutes, but that's it.
So that's just a IMDb rumor then.
It's a hell of a 3 minutes though, bro, let me tell you.
Nice. Is it true though that you're a jazz fan?
I'm a great jazz fan. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Who do you like?
That's kind of a broad question. I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 favorite jazz vocalists, one living and one dead. So I'll tell you, my favorite singer of all time in any genre is a man named Eddie Jefferson. And if you don't know who Eddie Jefferson is, don't feel bad. He's not particularly famous. But he's my favorite singer of all time. Passed away in about 1978 or something like that. Murder in a case of mistaken identity on the streets of Chicago.
Oh, that's a bad way to die.
That's a true story. My favorite living vocalist is a jazz guy named Kurt Elling.
I think I've heard of him. You into like Miles Davis and Quincy Jones?
Of course. Those are 2 of the greats. Miles Davis is leading the esoteric pack.
Yeah.
So you can't not like Miles, That's like saying, well, you like The Wizard of Oz, don't you? Well, yes, of course. Everyone loves The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are great. So your first movie was Don Coscarelli's Kenny and Company. How did you get cast as Doug?
I went to a cattle call and competed against a couple hundred other kids who were my age at that time. Probably I was 10 when I auditioned and got the job.
Just a simple audition.
Yeah, that's it.
Now,
one audition, booked it.
Nice.
Mm.
There was how many kids in the room?
I'm not really sure. Maybe 100 or possibly more. I wouldn't have seen them all at once. They saw kids all probably for 2 or 3 days or a week all in a row. Saw a lot of kids.
Yeah, probably a lot of guys who like went on to become successful.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Thanks. Nice.
So obviously you didn't know about Phantasm yet, but when you met Don, did you have any feeling that this guy was going to take you places you thought you'd never see in your future?
No, of course, you never know anything. You know, no one has a crystal ball. And no, you don't realize that you're making something that's going to have legs and last for a long time. To me, you know, it was just like making movies with my friends. That's what it was like.
Mm-hmm. But you thought he was a special guy, right?
We were just buddies right from the get-go. We got along great. And Paul Pepperman as well. And we were all just, we were friends. I was a lot younger than those guys, but they were pretty young themselves. So, you know, worked out pretty good.
Yeah, Don was like, what, 21?
Yeah, very young.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. 21 and directing a studio film. I mean, that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I wouldn't call it a studio film. I don't think that's accurate.
But a big studio released it, though. Was it 20th Century Fox, I think?
Yeah, but that's not the same as making the movie under a studio banner where they're paying for it. That's different. This is a totally independent film, you know, no studio involvement until much, 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 much later. But by that time, you've made the entire movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
When you call it a studio film, it makes it sound like, you know, you have all this fantastic machinery and support. That is not the case. It is a guerrilla style, very young people making a movie over the course of a summer.
Okay, so it was just distributed by 20th Century Fox then.
That's correct.
I see.
Very poorly distributed.
Yeah, I mentioned it to people and they never heard of it.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Dan McCann played Kenny. That's like his only movie. Whatever happened to him?
I have no idea.
You haven't seen him since?
Haven't seen him since.
Yeah, I bet you if the movie was popular, you would hear from him because he'd probably be invited to screenings and stuff.
I would love to see him again. Great guy. We were good friends.
Mm-hmm.
We were good friends. We had a really a memorable summer together.
Nice. So, did Don write the role of Mike with you in mind?
You mean in Phantasm?
In
Yes,
Phantasm.
I believe. You'll have to ask him, but I believe the answer is yes.
Did you think that the script was different and original compared to a lot of the stuff that was coming out in the 70s? In terms of horror?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure that I would have been able to judge it properly reading the screenplay back then. To me, it just seemed like a fun, spooky movie. Yeah, let's make it.
Yeah. I mean, there was no other horror films in the 70s that had, you know, a character like the Tall Man and, like, you know, a spear with spikes through it, you know? That is
true.
It was brand new and it was innovative. You know, it set the stage for, I think it set the stage for, you know, Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Perhaps you're right.
Yeah. So he brought you, Reggie, and Ken V back from Kenny and Company. Don really built a small community for himself in the movies he made.
Yes, Tommy, you did.
Now, I've heard that Angus was a sweet, gentle man and far removed from the Tall Man.
That's true.
That's true. He wasn't, but was he scary to you at all? Just you know, in that guise on the set?
Not at all. Not at all. Not in the tiniest way.
Any good stories stand out about Angus?
100 of them, yeah, of course. But you know, you got to be a little more specific than that. I mean, general stories about my friend. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Was he a guy who liked to play practical jokes on the set?
No. No, he was not. That's funny. That's hard to imagine him doing that. No, the guy's a gentleman. He's a you know, a proper gentleman. Guy probably shaves twice a day.
Wow. What is his facial hair? His facial hair grew back.
He's like James Mason.
Yeah, he was a proper actor like James Mason.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, so his facial hair grew back fast then. Wow. Yeah, I actually started going to horror conventions because of his death, because in 1 year, we lost Betsy Palmer from Friday the 13th and Gunnar Hansen from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was like, I got to start going to conventions, otherwise everyone's going to die without me meeting them, and these guys already did. Wow. What was the scariest scene to film in Phantasm?
That's a good question. I guess maybe, the very final shot of the movie is it's scary having, even breakaway glass shutter around your face. So that's not very fun.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of scary. Yeah.
Did that take a couple days to film?
No, I don't think so, no. Probably one afternoon or a day.
Yeah, because when you see a really memorable scene in a movie like that and stuff, you find out it took a few days to film, and it only lasted, not very long.
Tell me, how long you been doing these podcasts?
I've been doing this podcast 2 years.
Yeah, that's cool. How many podcast chapters have you collected in that time? What do you call them? Chapters.
Episodes.
Episodes?
500.
How many episodes do you have?
500.
500, really?
538.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I've been very lucky with the people I've gotten.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does a podcast get clicks? How do you rate its success?
Oh, you go on YouTube and you click like if you like it, and I keep track of all my subscribers.
Do advertisers pay you to advertise on your page?
No, I don't do the advertising thing right now.
I see.
Yeah. So
I'm just curious. I'm just curious how these things work. I'm kind of an old dog from an old school.
Oh yeah, you could ask me anything. I don't care about that. So did every guy on the set have a crush on Kathy Lester?
I wouldn't say crush. No. Not exactly a crush, but something.
It's been 40 years. She still holds up.
Well, it would be impolite to discuss such things, so I pass on that.
Okay. Yeah, her scene is probably my favorite in the movie. So after Phantasm, why did you give up acting for a while?
Because I had been doing it my whole life, It wasn't after Phantasm. I quit probably when I was 20, I think. Maybe 19 or 20, and just had to leave LA and had to stop. I just had to stop. I'd been doing it for a decade already,
Mm-hmm.
People forget that. It's a lot. It's not a career for a kid that I would recommend to any kid.
Yeah.
Ever. It really isn't. It's just really unnecessary for children to be professionals, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. I don't think any child actor, any former child actor, recommends being a child actor.
Right. Yeah. That's correct.
Because only a handful of them, continued working in the business, like Ron Howard and Kurt Russell. Jodie Foster. Yep. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Jason Bateman. Yep. God, yeah. There's some good ones that continued working. But you became a teacher.
I got one for you. How about this? Robert Blake.
Yeah, but
Mike drop.
Yeah, but he didn't have any. He didn't have any therapy though. Oh my God! But you became a teacher.
Yep.
You teach acting.
I do, yep.
You like? Do you like teaching better than acting?
All the same thing to me. It's the same.
It's a job.
The same.
The same.
Working with creative people and trying to guide them through, some sort of foreign land where at the end Not that there is an end, but that somewhere along the way you at least you get to add a few tools to your tool belt, have a practical working knowledge of how to work a scene and be successful as a performer.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, one of the great things about being a teacher, though, is that you teach yourself stuff that you didn't even know that you knew.
It's a give and take. It works both ways, for sure. I mean, in the best of times, it works both ways.
Mm-hmm. But they decided to cast somebody else as Mike in Phantasm 2. What did you think about the actor that replaced you?
I don't know. He's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're way better as Mike.
Thank you. That's the correct thing to say in a podcast interview.
Yeah. No, I really do feel that way. I do. But how did it feel coming back for 3-4 and Ravager?
Good.
It was all good experience?
Yeah, had a great time. Hey, listen, my man, I've got to go see a man about a horse.
You have to go see a man about a horse?
Yep.
Okay, so...
It was great meeting you.
Yes, okay, so August 30th to September 1st, you will be at Days of the Dead in Louisville, Kentucky. And then
Thank you, that's correct.
September 13th through the 15th, that's Son of Monsterpalooza, which I will be attending, and I'll see you there.
Right on. We'll see you there. Sounds good.
All right, Mike, you have a great day, and thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. You take care, buddy.
All right, you take care. Well, there you have it. Michael Baldwin. Ain't he a cool dude? Thank you so much, Michael. I'm glad that we could have this short conversation about Phantasm and that you could promote your appearance. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.